The placer gold and stuff is all fine and dandy. Gotta get some nuggets, get all that. But finding the lode, guys, finding the source of all that gold, that's what you want. Alrighty, guys, so Sasquatch Prospector here. We are on the Coquihalla, guys. I've been taking the 3 a lot recently, but we're not doing that this time. We're going to take the Coquihalla because it's summertime. Yay! I hate doing the Coke in the wintertime. It's not even worth it, frankly, unless you absolutely have to. But, really cool thing about the Coquihalla, guys, I've been holding off on this one for a while just because I've been wondering when was a good time to do it. The gold rush on the Coquihalla, guys. The Coquihalla is a massive gold belt. So there's a series of gold mines. The gold belt itself trends about northwest on the Coquihalla in the mountains. So it'll be a high, like these mines are high up in the mountains, guys. I was going to drive up to some of them, but we're do that at another time. I got to do a few videos on the Coquihalla. So make sure you stay posted. Hit the bell icon, like, subscribe, comment too. But I was mentioning before in the Tulameen how the Tulameen you can get placer gold and platinum. Now, most people think that that is the only place that you can get placer gold and platinum in British Columbia. And in the sense of like actually getting placer platinum consistently, yes, you're not going to get placer platinum the same way you get placer gold in the Tulameen. But the Coquihalla has placer platinum. And even hard rock prospects at placer platinum. I was saying before during my Tulameen video that there's a lode somewhere in the mountains, guys, near Champion. I don't know. I'm kind of inclined to think that it's more towards the Coquihalla, because if you were to draw a line from the Coquihalla to the Tulameen, like Colmont, basically, they're pretty like right in the same area. And you'll see we're going to stop at Britton Creek. Lots of mineralization up at Britton Creek. Britton Creek takes you to the Tulameen FSR, which is how you go from the Coquihalla Highway over to Princeton, Colmont, Blakeburn, and all that. So it starts right at the lower Coquihalla River, guys. We've got Sawaka Creek, Seawash Creek, all these creeks of note that have gold. So we've got placer gold and platinum in Sawaka Creek, guys. So the Tulameen is not the only place in British Columbia that you can get placer platinum. Now, it's not very well known, Sawaka, and when I say Sawaka, I'm sure somebody's got a claim here. Someone who's watching this is going to have a claim there. But Sawaka it's higher up the creek, about 8 kilometers up the creek is where they sunk a bunch of gravel shafts, basically, and trying to find the lead, right? The lead, because it's all glacial deposits. Anytime there's a lot of overburden, so like up in Likely, Horsefly, up in the Caribou, like Lightning Creek, for example, is a good example of that. That's all glacial drift stuff, right? Glaciers have come over time and they've covered the gold with 100 foot of sediment or whatever, right? Overburden. Sawaka has a similar thing. So they were sinking shafts, 15, 20 meters down into the gravels of Sawaka to try and find the platinum. They only recovered, like, it was about $600 in platinum. It's not much. It's not like in the Tulameen, guys. In the Tulameen, when you're mining, you'll have ratios, right? Like 4-to-1 gold to platinum. So you get 4 pieces of gold and 1 piece of platinum. And it can fluctuate, like in parts, not directly on the Tulameen, but like kind of off in some of the tributaries, like up Granite Creek and Newton Creek. You can go 4-to-1 platinum, right? So it kind of changes. So it's up to the prospector to kind of monitor that. Up on the hills here, you see up at top there's old hard rock mines. So this is going to be a theme for this trip, placer and hard rock mining together. Because usually if there's placer gold, that means that it came from a hard rock source. So the Coquihalla, but not always in the same area. Dawson City, for example, in the Yukon, they don't actually know where that lode came from. And that's going to be the new thing for any new prospector nowadays. Yeah, we know where the rush took place, but where is the source coming from? We're in the goldfields now. This is the goldfields of the Coquihalla. It's a weird geology here. A lot of it is found in the serpentine of the Coquihalla, like the serpentine, the rock, it's a type of rock. But there's also talcose formations, and gold has been found in those, or talc. Everybody knows about talc. This whole area is the Hosamine Fault. All through here, there's all like big rock fractures and stuff that have created fissures. And then over time, these fissures fill up with hydrothermal fluids and create the ore deposit. There wasn't a lot of gold that was mined out of here. The Carolyn mine was kind of the big one. 90% of all the gold in the Coquihalla region, the Coquihalla Gold Belt, came out of the Carolyn mine. There's a little bit of plastic gold, plastic platinum on Sawaka. So that's where we're actually headed right now, is Sawaka. We're not going to go 8 kilometers down the creek. Another time I will do that. Also going to drive up to the top of these mountains and go look at those mines. But we're just passing through this area right now. It's kind of like, so I just kind of just so you know kind of a thing. And we'll do an extensive video on this later. We're not really in this area this trip, but it is really important to note because it's going to tee us up for the Lardo. The Lardo is all about placer and hard rock mining, and all the two kind of complement each other. And you know, like you'll get a lot of guys, they're placer guys, but they're not hard rock guys. You'll get guys that are hard rock guys but not placer guys. I'm a bit of both guys. Hard rock mining, especially nowadays, has a lot more promise because it's selling mines to people is like a huge thing. But what people didn't do back in the day, which what you have to do now, is if you ever find a big deposit, guys, and you are going to sell it to a mining company, make sure you put a royalty clause in your contract. Because what used to happen to old guys was they would have a mine and they would sell it and they wouldn't realize that like the ore body was actually much bigger than they thought. And so the company would buy it for pennies on the dollar, and then these guys would get screwed out of millions of dollars. So what you do to get around that is, if you're going to sell a prospect to somebody or to a mining company, put a royalty clause in it, because that way you collect royalties from whatever gold is mined after. So just a little bit of a note to kind of keep your money, right? So Sawaka Creek, 100 meters, exit 192. So up that way, guys. So whenever you're prospecting a river valley, you've got to keep in mind you've got the east side and the west side. And depending, and like I said, in the Lardo, this will come in big time. Sometimes there's stuff on the east side, sometimes there's stuff on the west. Most of the hard rock mineralization is on the west side of the Coquihalla. Sawaka, with its classic gold, classic platinum, is on the east side. So here we go, guys. Sawaka Creek. Any guys that got claims on Sawaka, this is a great area, man. If you haven't, because people can have claims but they don't use them. So that's another thing to know. It doesn't mean you can do anything. It just means that guys are sitting on claims and they're not using them. But if you do have a claim and you haven't been out here, you should come out here and check it out. You're up, Sawaka. Okay. Just going like a little bit. May have been a little bit on, yeah. Now you can follow this road all the way up to the end, which I'm not going to do. But down in the creek here, I'll go to the confluence of it too. There's all kinds of mines and great places to look for gold, right? Oh.
Blasting signals, active road.
Yeah, you know what, they're working. I'm not gonna.
And development working.
I'm just gonna be that guy that's harassing everybody. Okay, well, you see the road, guys.
Yeah.
So this is Sawaka FSR.
Yeah. Blasting signals.
The blasting signals and construction. No, thank you.
Yeah, danger blasting.
I'm on vacation, guys. I don't want to be back at work.
Blasting.
So we'll go. What we'll do is we'll go to the confluence, and this is, you guys are seeing raw Sasquatch Prospector here. This is how I say, oh, we're gonna go here, and then I go there, and I'm like, actually, you know what? No, we're not gonna go here. That's just how it is. Because I don't know, right? I don't come down here. I'm just the nerd that looks this stuff up. Okay, so well, that was quick. Okay, so we'll go. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna park over here. We'll go to the we'll park out there.
Yeah,
it's safer.
Yeah.
And we'll go to. I'll show you guys the confluence and everything. Alrighty, guys. So here we are, Sawaka. So the road's got construction and blasting, and I'm not gonna go up it just because I don't actually really have anything to do there other than just drive there and talk about it and show you guys another claim on Sawaka. So, but this is kind of the confluence. You see all this dead timber, some good wood here lying around this piece here. But yeah, guys, so this is Sawaka. We're in the gold fields now. So we're gonna go past the Carolyn mine, the Ward mine, the Pipe Stream mine, the Arm mine, the Emancipation mine. These are all hard rock gold mines. And there's like probably 20 some formations they found, all with various different names. Golden Calf should be one. Just any names, right guys? Just pick names and that's what they're called. You can see the hard rock deposits will be up on the mountain. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go past Ladner Creek, FSR, but we're gonna head over to Ladner Creek, Dudney Creek, Tangent Creek as well. All these creeks, good prospecting areas. Alrighty guys, so Ladner Creek, there's a KVR suspension bridge. We passed a whole bunch of mines, the Carolyn mine, the Ward mine, the Aram mine, the Pipe Street mine, the Emancipation mine. These were all hard rock gold claims. all up in the mountains, guys. We'll drive up there one day. You'll see the head frames, but all these creeks too. Like I said, Ladner Creek, Dudney Creek, Tangent Creek, Sawaka Creek, placer gold, right? So on the mountainsides, you've got hard rock gold, and then in the rivers and the creeks, you've got placer gold. So the KVR as well. We're driving up to Brookmere. This will be a separate video, but we're going to drive up to the town of Brookmere. It's an old railway town. So the KVR railway cuts all through the Coquihalla. Othello, we passed the tunnels. They're closed. They've been closed for a while. That was the tunnel system for the KVR. But you'll notice Portia, Othello, these are all names that are referencing Shakespearean characters, because Andrew McCulla, he was the guy behind the KVR that really like made it tick, got the job done. He was started out as an accountant, but back in the day, you didn't need to go to school to necessarily become something, right? So he became the engineer, the head engineer for the KVR, and he had a fascination with Shakespeare and was like able to recite, you know, pages and pages of it in his mind. He was a very, very big Shakespeare aficionado. So what he did in honor of Shakespeare is name a lot of the stops. So like, you'll know you're in the KVR because it'll have some weird kind of, you know, old English Shakespearean name. Portia, yeah, 1915, which saw the sign. That's all there's Shakespearean characters, Shakespearean names. So that's how I always know you're on the KVR, is when you get something like that. So we're going to drive to Britton Creek Rest Area, which is basically the link up for the Tulameen, and that will take you over towards Champion Creek and all where the lode is. So I'm curious, guys. It's like you got to chase it. I think the lode is somewhere near the Coquihalla, in between the Cascades and the Tulameen. The placer gold and stuff is all fine and dandy. Got to get some nuggets, get all that. But finding the lode, guys, finding the source of all that gold, that's what you want. In the modern day, that'll be the new prospecting game. Is guys are going to be looking for the motherlodes, right? Like, it's still in the Yukon, guys. The Yukon Gold Rush has been going on for over 100 years. They've been mining gold out of there. It's still getting gold out of there. It's all placer gold, but nobody's actually pinpointed where it all came from. Now, when it's the glacier kind of a thing, the gold can migrate quite far distance from where it initially fell off the vein. There's lots of overburden, and the placer gold has traveled far away, like it's smaller and flatter. That means that it's further away from its home of origin. Now, if you're finding, like, and you'll see when we go up to Camborne and the Lardo, which is part of the reason why the Lardo had such an interesting thing to it. If you're finding like chunky, like float, like they call pieces of ore that have fallen off the main vein that haven't been mined, they call that float. Romeo, that's another stop. They call that float. If you find really chunky, like thick gold that it's not flat and small, that means that it's just fallen off. When I say just fallen off, I mean the last 1,000 years or so, maybe even more. But in geologic time, that's a few seconds. Whenever you get gold, if you're trying to hard rock prospect the area, make sure that you look at the gold that you're getting, and then you kind of look at the area you're in, take a look at the geology, and then kind of just think about it. Anytime there's faults, that's great. That means that there's cracks. You want fissures for stuff to solidify in, right? So this is the famous, the snow shed / the Big Hill Killer. This is what screws everybody up in the summer and in the winter, because the thing about the Coquihalla is in the wintertime, you've got ice and snow, and like the fact that we're in a snow belt and the weather is horrible. And then in the summertime, if you don't have a good vehicle, as in you've got an old vehicle, my old truck used to do this, you're going to overheat, right? Because you see, we're going up this big hill, we're going up the summit. The snow shed for the avalanches, but this is a big hill, guys. You'll see trucks just struggling to get up here. But fully loaded, middle of summer, easy to burn out or easy to overheat. Well, and you can see the steep slopes. So the hard load ore, guys, will be right at the top of like these mountains, right? So, and we'll see in the Lardo, same thing. It's like right up at the top of this mountain, right? The guys are getting this, these mines, this ore, and then you chase it down into the mountain, right? You follow the lead. That's why mines will fan out in every which way. Oil temperature. Alrighty, well, there we go, guys. So yeah, even in my new truck, we definitely gone up. Transmission's 80 right now, 106 for the coolant. I'm usually around 99. So a little bit. And then the oil temperature's gone up about 20 degrees. So imagine if you didn't have a modern vehicle, right? With all the modern amenities of that. Decent amount of snowpack still. So we're going to go to Britton Creek rest area. It's coming up here. Alrighty guys, so this is Britton Creek. The potential source of lode is around here, guys. Lode gold. Alrighty guys, so here we are, Britton Creek rest area. Britton Creek, so this is the junction for Tulameen FSR. They'll take you down to Colmont, Blakeburn, but it's washed out, so never mind about that. So Kettle Valley Railway, guys, we're gonna go to Brookmere, which is great to go see old Kettle Valley town. So Kettle Valley Railway construction, west end of the Adra Tunnel. Oh yeah, the Adra Tunnel. Richard McBride, he was instrumental. He was a big railway guy, loved his railways. And then Kettle Valley construction on the east end of the Adra Tunnel, 1913. There's a railroad like no other. The construction and operation of the Kettle Valley Railway was front page news and a key political platform of Premier Sir Richard McBride. To many like McBride, the railway was the necessary link between the interior and the coast, and the means of preserving the interior as a Canadian territory. To others, the project was fraught with needless competition, fueled by high emotion, pride, and marked by objectionable level of public investment. Doesn't sound too far off from the projects of today. However, the railway was seen as the ultimate transportation system. The government and the private sector injected massive amounts of capital and land into the railway expansion, including the Kettle Valley Railway. The last and most difficult section of track linked Brookmere to Hope, finally achieving access to the coast. See, we're here. This is Britton Creek. Tulameen, the Tulameen River, right here. So you see this is where all the platinum comes, and then this is where all the Coquihalla River platinum is here, right, in the Coquihalla River. So somewhere here, guys, somewhere right here, in between the Coquihalla River and the Tulameen River, up in the mountains, I believe is the lode source for Tulameen River gold and platinum. The railway, Hope, all the way up what we just did through Coquihalla, leaves, we got Ladner Trestle, the Ladner Creek Trestle, up, Britton Creek, and then we're going to go to Brookmere, and at Brookmere, there's a road, but it's all washed out, so you can't follow it, but you'd follow the railway line down into the Tulameen River Valley, and then down Tulameen, Colmont, Princeton. Huge part of the transportation system back in the day. People from Blakeburn over here would go to Colmont, and they'd hop on the train, and then they'd follow it all the way down to Hope, and then on to Vancouver. Britton Creek rest area is a big deal, because it's kind of like, it's how you access that region, like especially you want to go over to Champion and stuff. So to be able to actually get to, you know, the area where lode prospecting is kind of worthwhile, you'd have to go through Britton Creek. So we're here, you follow Tulameen FSR and it'll take you right out over to here, basically, kind of like right around here, and then there's all kinds of stuff. It's actually a really good picture because that just shows you Britton Creek and Tulameen and where they all kind of, how everything meshes in together. So what do we got here? Coquihalla Pass. So this itself is the Coquihalla Highway, leads up all the way to Kamloops, right? Goes from Hope to Kamloops, Merritt being the middle, and then the 97C was kind of another phase, which that's the Okanagan connector, which connects you to the Okanagan. So in spite of many hazards, the shorter route to the coast has been an important corridor. The McCulla Valley ranchers were the first group to negotiate the pass, moving cattle along the Hope-McCulla Cattle Trail in 1875. Miners and loggers followed. They changed much of the trail to a wagon road. More changes took place with the coming of the Kettle Valley Railway, operating from 1916 to 1959. Then the Trans Mountain Oil Pipeline Company installed and serviced the pipeline. In the 1960s, West Coast Transmission built a natural gas pipeline through the valley, but avoided the difficult Upper Coquihalla Canyon by routing it via Boston Bar Creek Valley. The most recent use of this scenic, important, and difficult route is this highway, officially opened in May 1986. So yeah, Coquihalla, Hope to Kamloops. As you can see, Britton Creek, key area for numerous different things: trains, highways, transportation, mining. But the biggest thing for Britton Creek, guys, like I said, to note is mineralization all through this area, as well as here to here. In here, this is, pretty sure that's where the lode is, guys. So anyways, guys, this is going to conclude our mining on the Coquihalla, Britain Creek, Tulameen, kind of how that all fits in, the lode mining. We are going to do more of it, so just make sure you stay posted, like and subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and keep posted for that next video on Coquihalla Gold Mine.